I believe in gating. I believe in gating content. But there's a compromise. Gated content piece is like a soft introduction. It's not that, hey, buy from us. It's soft in. But the in there is what prompted your interest. Why are you doing it? What caused you, just what got you here, right? If we talk about marketing and new strategies, all that's a PLG. Everybody wants PLG. PLG is hot. I personally believe everybody's been wrong about PLG. Find a leader that believes in the strategy, that has enough to say about it, that's charismatic. Put them in communities to create organic content. Drive an audience engagement through organic content. I think that's a really important starting point. The influencer partnership strategy, typically where this goes wrong is that it becomes a brand play versus a pipeline play. So have you thought about how you're going to convert this into pipeline? Yeah, in terms of top of funnel, I think that's like the most basic thing that anybody can do. The best thing to do there is speed to lead. Within 5 minutes, you need to just go hit them up right away, right? Everybody does not need to have the straightforward conversion. You need to focus on multi-threading at the middle of the funnel. You need to focus on engaging leadership at the middle of the funnel. I think that's where marketing should be giving sales teams ammunition, partnerships, help soft introductions. Good marketing, good personal branding is going to open the door. What's going to close it is if you've earned enough trust and if they trust you. So for us, the content we create is not about Aligned. The content we create is about sales excellence.
So let's just get started. So GTM strategy in 2024, given that there's a market meltdown going on, there's a lot of anticipation of recessions and all of that. So what's GTM strategy in 2024 for any company?
Yeah, that's a very good question. To answer that, I'll give you a bit of a long answer. So my experience over the last 2-3 years have been building 0 to 10 million revenue engines. Now at that stage, it's a lot of experimentations, right? But the experimentation comes from trying a lot of new strategies, but it also comes from putting a test around them. You need to have a test quotient. You need to also have like your baseline, and then be able to track if you're getting results from it and what you're getting results from. And what's very interesting to me is there's a very age-old known concept that has always reigned supreme for me, and it's still to this day. I believe in gating. I believe in gating content. I get that from my former chief marketing officer at Clio, Alex Shapilo. But there's a compromise. So I'll get to the point. But essentially what I'm trying to say here is that the first company I worked at, Clio, they partnered with, they were a legal tech company. They're leaders they still are the leaders in the legal tech space. And they're partnered with the American Bar Association. Every single time a lawyer graduates the American Bar, they get a copy of Clio's industry standard legal trends report, and they have to put their email in, stuff like that. And they're told that, hey, you're probably, you'll get contacted. But they're also given a summary of that report that is ungated. Striking a balance, right? Let's educate the buyer as well, but also let them know that, hey, this is business after all. And that report itself teaches lawyers how to build law firms, how to use technology, all that stuff. Now, why am I saying that? The reason why I'm saying that is because that was the first ever experience I had working with a marketing leader, and that was the first ever thing I saw work. And then over the last 3-4 years, what I've done is I've worked at PLG companies, right? If we talk about marketing and new strategies, all that's a PLG. Everybody wants PLG. PLG is hot. I personally believe everybody's been wrong about PLG. Why? So in terms of modern go-to-market strategies, PLG is pretty hot. Partnership is pretty hot, right? Content is really hot. So in terms of the best strategies these days, it's those things. It's PLG. It's influencer partnerships. It's co-partnering with your I guess current customers that could help you give future customers, and all that stuff. The caveat on that is, and I made this joke to a friend of mine. He's a marketing head of marketing at Warmly. I was like, I sometimes blame marketers or traditional, and by the way, marketing background in sales. I do sales, but I'm an adopted son of every marketing team. That's how I view it. That's why I hope nobody takes offense to it, because I sometimes do more marketing than sales. I think the whole idea of let's just gate things, let's just let people have things when their time and all, it's wrong. You can't control things that way. You can't make things predictable that way, right? So let's go to my point. What I'm trying to say here is what I've done over the last 2-3 years at every PLG company I've been at, we've done PLG differently. We've done marketing differently. We have every single time a product sign up comes in, we're getting our BDRs to reach out to them, not the automated channel that, hey, you use X amount of the product, but let's take you forward. Every single time we release content pieces at my old company, Dooley, as well, we did the exact same strategy as we did at Clio. Gated report and a summary. What that has allowed us to do and help me understand is that it gives you access to the customer. Gated content piece is like a soft introduction. It's not that, hey, buy from us. It's soft in, but the in there is what prompted interest. Why are you doing it? What caused you? Just what got you here? And that has been a really important piece in terms of whatever strategies you look at for modern go-to-market. I think the caveat there now is that you need to optimize yourself for conversation with customers. Whether you're doing marketing, whether you're doing PLG, whatever, what can you do to optimize yourself, setting up a conversation with customer? Second thing is, what can you do to drive traffic to your website? I don't care if people book demos with me. I would rather create strategies to drive traffic. Now, that traffic could be driven through content strategy, through influencer partnerships, all that stuff. Because we all know B2B is more B2C than ever before. Before you go buy shoes or an iPhone, you're going to watch videos for hours on end, right? What if you can capture people when they're window shopping? So I know that was a very long-winded, but I think on a core concept for a lot of what I want to talk about, it's that in terms of whatever strategies to deploy, I think the strategies are going to be the same. I think they have to look at them a little bit differently now. There's not enough time for people to work. There's predictable revenue models are dying. So what can be done to get to the customer faster, have conversations faster? Yeah, we'll go more into some of the data and things like that, but I think that's the high level for me.
Okay, that's great. So let's just take a startup. Okay, they're trying to build content and they're trying to bring in leads and the traffic. Okay, and they want to do the full funnel marketing. So exactly where should they focus on? How should they start? What are some of the strategies that they can follow?
Yeah, I think the first thing that startup needs to do is first of all, I don't think SEO works as well anymore. I don't think ad strategies work as well anymore. It's a lot of high burn, right? The analogy that I like to use is, let's say that I'm selling dog toys, right? And I aim to sell dog toys to just community houses. And so the idea of a cul-de-sac. Cul-de-sac has a circular area, has like 5-6 houses. Let's say I have access to 3 cul-de-sacs. I go in cul-de-sac 1, I knock on everybody's door. Cul-de-sac 2, everybody's door. Hey, I have dog toys. Cul-de-sac 3, everybody's door. I can do that all over again the next day. But guess what? That cul-de-sac, all those 3 cul-de-sacs are connected by one dog park. And the evening, all those people that I knocked on the door, they're probably going to go to the dog park and be like, hey, by the way, did this guy come and knock on your door and selling dog toys? And they're like, yeah. Now, I can go and knock on all those doors all over again tomorrow. What if I find myself in the cul-de-sac when they are having that conversation about me, and I can just pick up the interesting conversations? What I'm trying to get at is, I think where companies to start off is get your CEO or make an internal leader a celebrity, authority, a thought leader. And you don't do that by them just being like, hey, just everybody come look at me. That will happen. They will look at you if you find the right place to say the right things. So I think one of the first things companies should do is find a leader that believes in the strategy, that has enough to say about it, that's charismatic. You can honestly manufacture it and put them in community. Put them in communities to create organic content. Drive an audience engagement through organic content. I think that's a really important starting point. Once you're getting engagement, and that's exactly what we're doing at Aligned right now. Our CEO, he was hired as CEO. He just took on marketing. And the way he did it, he started talking about buyer enablement. The category is building right now. We are literally building the category organically by posting on LinkedIn. But how do we magnify the voice now, right? So let's say my CEO started doing that. Then we did the exact same thing that we did at Dooley. We started working with advisors, strategic influencers, branded personalities, aka top sellers in our space that we can use, whose audience we can kind of borrow or work with to just co-market and just magnify what we're trying to say. So now it's not just Gal that's saying it; it's now industry voices that are saying it. Right? I can go spend $50,000-$60,000 on those ads, or I can give $2,000-$3,000 to these individuals to just magnify the voice. And just because, and also by doing this, you're creating volume, but you're creating more targeted volume that's more likely to convert. But it's like thousands of leads. We all know the issue with MQLs and sales getting MQLs. Like, all MQLs are not built equal. They're not. They're truly not. And once you have that, then internally, what a business should do is you should go hire, let's say your categories for consulting. There's probably people in your industry that are trusted authorities. Go hire one internally to be a leader at your organization. Like this is all of this is a very strategic play about. I am always thinking about demand capture. I'm not even thinking demand gen anymore. Demand gen happens. We're living in a world of so much content, so much noise, all that stuff. Demand generation is happening consistently, whether we know it or not. But how do you capture that? And how do you manufacture that? Right? We're a PLG company. We want to drive signups, but what has to happen before driving signups? Driving traffic to my website. That traffic could be driven by us, I wouldn't even say us, us going to other people's podcasts, like an entire audience of people talking about us, right? So it's like people keep saying there was a time when you can pay Gartner Forrester $15,000 and do a case study and go to the market and be like, hey, we're not leaders, we're industry experts, buy from us. B2B is more B2C than ever before. Somebody walks up to you on a street and goes like, hey, I'm a thought leader, buy from you. You'll be like, I'm down. Come over here. So before thought leadership for top of funnel has to come trust. Before trust has to come likability. Likability is easy. Likability is basic. Likability is music videos, fancy colors, co-influencer partnerships, all that stuff. So when likability happens, then you've earned the right to earn trust. Then go more direct about what your product does and things like that. Don't start with your product problem. Start with likability. Be silly. Whatever that means for you. My old company partnered with chain smokers, the DJs, right? And we partnered with sales humor. So we used to blast sales humor ads all over LinkedIn, and people would like, we say sales humor and Dooley all the time. And I used to call people and they'd be like, Saad, what the fuck is Dooley? And I can show this to you right now. So this is, yeah. I got a lot of examples. So this is actually my QBR from Dooley. And
that's awesome.
We drove a 431% increase in qualified pipeline. The way we did that was we had thousands of signups that were going through activation failure. In PLG, activation failure is the idea that this is activation failure, which we were talking about earlier. Buyer's consideration journey. So if you think about, and this is exactly what we were talking about earlier about gating, ungating, all that stuff. If you think about the buyer's awareness journey, it suggests that when buyers are going through awareness, they're engaging with videos, blogs, social media, infographics. Okay, cool. And then it says that when they're considering, they're engaging with newsletters, events, white papers. Saad, how is a webinar any different than a video? How is a newsletter different than a blog? Maybe small, maybe more condensed, right? So I say respectfully, marketers, I disagree with you. I think there's another layer called the unaware layer. I think we should pool two things into the aware layer and then add an unaware layer. The unaware layer is when people are window shopping. The unaware layer is people are engaging with blogs, webinars, and articles. They're not ready for you. They're not ready for your product, but they like the idea of what you're talking about, right? So for companies that don't have PLG, they educate their audience. They help their audience window shop through videos, blogs, and content pieces. Companies that have PLG can do exactly that through their product piece. So when the market thinks they got to your product, they're ready to buy it. No, they're literally just window shopping. So instead of sending them through your automated channel, buy from us, just ask them why they were interested. Because we did that, so for activation failure number exists in the industry, By doing just this, we basically called all our signups, and it was just sitting in our CRM, and this happened.
Okay.
So pipeline increased, and the way we did that, the way we were driving that traffic was through a lot of organic content. So these were follower increase spikes on Dooley's LinkedIn page. I started in Dooley on September 8th, so there was a spike somewhere around here time. Anyways, these spikes happened. 3,000 follower increase exactly the same time when this was happening. These are screenshots from my profile and posts that I was making. But the way we were doing it is we were doing it in engagement pods. You're doing it with co-influencers, marketers. Everybody would make similar posts. We'll post at the exact same time. We'd engage with one another. Network effect would kick in, and people would message me like, "Saad, we see Dooley all the time. What the fuck is Dooley?" And we launched a campaign called "What the fuck is Dooley?" We went we went and partnered with in companies like JB Sales, 30 Mr. President's Club. Exactly what we were speaking about earlier. It's like, hey, you guys are an audience for sellers to just like, to be come and get educated on. So let's just get this noise out more. So the best sales and marketing top of funnel activities are, if in all honesty, they're glorified partnerships. They really are glorified partnerships where targeted and built in a very specific way, and everything has to connect. You can't have influence, not have a strategy to convert it, right? I got my job at my current company. I cold emailed my CEO. I was like, "God, congratulations! I see that you guys have picked up the influencer partnership strategy." Typically, where this goes wrong is that it becomes a brand play versus a pipeline play. So, have you thought about how you're going to convert this into pipeline? So that I would say, yeah, in terms of top of funnel, I think that's like the most basic thing that anybody can do. And the result of that happened with us in December, we had our highest ever signups at our lowest ever marketing spend. 90% of our inbound right now, people aren't searching for digital deal rooms. People are directly searching for Aligned, and they weren't 3 months ago. We're organically through posting organic content and very targeted, very minimal ads. We're building a category, doing top of funnel marketing. So, and you think sometimes people will be like, "Oh, Saad, is it only possible for sales tech companies because your audience is on LinkedIn?" I say no. You need to just do it the right way. So here's a screenshot, an example of somebody that's doing it at an engineering tech company. So exactly in terms of top of funnel activities, there's a company called Collab. Brilliant company. They sell to engineers, and Patrick is somebody that I've been working with, coaching all that for some time. Look at how they generate leads. So their CEO, exactly what we're speaking about, their CEO creates a lot of content. Adam is a legend. And what they do is they basically track all the people that engage with their posts, and then they score them. And then when they hit a certain score, people reach out to them to convert them. So they're basically calling and converting people that are engaging with their content. And this strategy comes from the demand gen playbook that I've built, we run. And the idea over there is essentially that I think companies go wrong when they're like, "Oh, let's go and sell to 500 accounts." Like, okay, where do these 500 accounts come from? So an activity that I like to do is, on a very basic level, to add to your top work, is create a list of companies that you think are going to be your best customers. And you can find that through your internal data. Who are your best customers? Where are you getting your best demos from? Sales and marketing needs to sit together, put together a list of customers. This is actually ABM, but not ABM. And add all those people, create relevant content, and if they're engaging with it, report on it. If they hit a certain score, or go outbound to them. I don't want them to know what we do. I don't want them to be like, "Oh yes, Align, yes, let's talk." I just want to be. All I want is by the time I call somebody, or by the time I reach out, they go, "Well, I've kind of heard about you guys." It's like, yeah, it's kind of familiar. That's half the battle.
Okay. So this is very interesting. So let's just stay at the top of funnel. Okay.
Yeah.
So what? So my question is, which performs better? Is it the text? Is it the video? Is it the image? Is it a value-driven thing? Is it a humorous thing? So what do you see like really works over there on this top of funnel? Okay, and let's just suppose you have something which is working. So what KPIs do you sort of like seek? Okay, this one does better than this one.
Yeah. That's a tricky one. I'll tell you why. Because sometimes great things don't scale. And I think you don't always need things that are always going to scale. Sometimes you just need that things that can help you in the moment and you build off of it. So in the past, it's like, so I think a very basic thing there becomes is people like you if you're humorous, right? But then
Okay.
they like you even more if behind your humor is actually a lot of wits and smart. So I think you need a combination. I think you need a combination. People will like you if you're humorous, but they won't trust you if you don't have like educational driven content pieces and things like that. So in terms of KPIs for top of funnel and organic, it's very difficult to attribute and track. I think a very basic thing you can track is your impression score, your engagement score. But that doesn't always like just your LinkedIn impression and stuff like that. But that doesn't always translate to just predictability. So I think a better thing over there to start tracking is this is what we do. We use a combination of tools, Warmly, Clearbit, and the main thing I am looking at weekly is how much traffic is coming on the website. What's the variation on the website traffic? Because website traffic leads to signups, website traffic leads to demos, website traffic leads to. That's how I'm trying to think about it. I think we're also Outbound is all over the place right now. I don't know if it's working. I don't know if it's dead. Everybody has their thoughts on it. But again, still, right? Optimizing for traffic. I think that's an interesting thing. So a core KPI that I think now teams should look at, and I'm not saying that, oh yeah, we're looking at traffic all the time, but for us, traffic is signups. For us, it's like weekly signups. How much signups are we driving through all this strategy? Because I know most of my signups are not going to buy. So that thing is putting attribution on LinkedIn content is just very difficult. So people can figure out better KPIs for it, yes. But in terms of for us overall, when we're doing our some of the main KPIs and SLAs that you can obviously track on a very basic level is your pipeline contribution versus target, right? How many MQLs are you driving? How many MQLs are actually leads? How many leads and MQLs actually convert to sales assisted leads? Sorry, sales accepted on a very basic level. That's the core metric here. But then hence why I'm saying this core metric is only achievable if the traffic that has to have, if this is the result of the traffic. I think that's where I'm at. And even I don't know how to fully optimize and think about it, but that's consistently where my brain is going now. Is like QL conversion is a byproduct of everything that has to happen before. I think that's where my head is at currently. And maybe it's a byproduct of a company that creates a lot of content, but content is education, and education leads to conversions.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe we are done with the top of the funnel. So is there a middle funnel there? Is it like a bottom of funnel there, or is it like top of funnel and then everything sort of like becomes like a conversion for you? How do you sort of like categorize it?
Yeah. I think the bottom of the funnel are your direct demo requests. The best thing to do there is speed to lead. Within 5 minutes, you need to just go hit them up right away, right? Everybody does not need to have the straightforward conversion. At the bottom of the funnel, the thing that you need to do really hard and really fast is as soon as somebody's interested, they want to book a demo with you, they need to be living in your world. So don't just book a meeting with them. Once they book a demo, send them something that's going to be relevant to them. Keep them thinking about you. Middle of funnel is where things get a little bit interesting. That's where people are lukewarm. They're warm but not. They've like agreed to work with you, but their timelines are all over the place. You're having difficulty getting leadership, things like that. I think that's where sales and marketing comes together. You need to focus on multi-threading at the middle of the funnel. You need to focus on engaging leadership at the middle of the funnel. I think that's where marketing should be giving sales teams ammunition. Partnerships should be giving sales teams ammunition to help soft introductions, right? Like warm introduction into businesses. Um, See if you have customers that can make an intro to sales leaders in these organizations. They're they're there, but they're not there. So you don't need all the top of funnel. You don't need all that content because they already know you exist. They already know there's something there. So at that point, it's just nudges. So gifting works. Exec touch points work. Exactly. Your exec leaders reaching out to those companies. Just reach out to your CEO, be like, hey, we want to push this conversation forward. Just, basic things. We actually built a full campaign where this is what we did for the middle of funnel accounts, companies at Dooley. This is my personal email, so don't mind all the
Oh yeah, to go for it.
right here. So we were closing some really interesting logos at Dooley, but like we had insane number of logos, but our ACV was hovering around 120K. Around 60K. But we were closing deals at 120K revenue, 120K, things like that. So we said, okay, let's do this. Let's put together a list of 40 target accounts that we know are similar to our best customers. And let's put together a really good campaign strategy with a lot of touch points. So with touch point from our CEO, gifting. And once that happens, we can drive them towards personalized landing pages that were built for the organizations, aka we use Mutiny. Mutiny is a tool that if you go on my company website, you're basically going to see if you go on my company website, you're going to see personalized messaging about your company data, things like that. So at that time, what we did was we partnered with RepView. RepView tells you what level of what's a quota attainment for organizations. And my old company's tool helped sales teams get more quota. So if Xgrid went on Dooley's website, they'll see the AE that's been speaking to Xgrid, so like personalized landing page. They'll see their quota attainment stats. So think personalization. What's more personalized than a personalized landing page for you, right? So I think that's where in the middle of the funnel, you can do some smaller activities, but the middle of the funnel is where you can drive some really big change by putting a little bit of effort in marketing, exact touch points, things like that. The idea there is these people are warm. They're just not getting over the. How can we get more money out of them if they are already engaged, but they're not willing to move forward? And getting more money out of them sounds a little bit weird, but that's exactly it. This could be good, but they're not willing to budge. Either they're not willing to buy, or they're trying to buy lesser than you thought you would. At that point, bring everything together. Your execs, your partnerships, your tech stack, a lot of that stuff. I hope that helps. I hope that wasn't too rambly.
No, that's great. That's great. So, okay, so middle of funnel, you're sort of suggesting gifting as all of those, some of the other techniques, the personalized landing pages. It sort of like becomes a like personalized ABM for them, and then you just go down down the funnel, and then for the demos, it's like okay, within time, as soon as possible, you sort of like go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so so in terms of agility, obviously you sort of like transitioned. You sort of suggested, okay, this is how funnel used to look like. Now this is the case, and maybe later on this is going to change also. So how do you stay agile? How do you sort of like keep on evolving, iterating?
That's a good question. I think it becomes second nature if you're always trying to keep improving your game. I think it comes as a byproduct of working in early stage companies. I'm kind of always in seat. I'm always doing outbound. I'm always working deals, and that forces me to always stay top of new strategies and things like that. So one thing that's pretty hot right now in the market is the idea of signal-based outbound, right? And signal-based outbound sales is essentially you tracking signals and working off of those. And what are these signals? These signals could be champions, former users that are moving to other organizations. These signals could be, on a very basic level, funding news. These signals could be on a very basic level, a new exec joining, because we all know what happens whenever a new sales leader or exec joins an organization. They're doing an audit and then trying to bring change and all that stuff. So, okay, all those pieces are important. Now, what's the agility there? The agility there is that instead of treating these as like one-off things as part of your motion, can that become the whole motion?
Mhm.
Instead of you talking to 100 people and 20 converting, what if we just talk to 30 and maybe 10 convert? Right? So to do that, this new thing that I'm trying to do and be agile towards is signal-based sales. And I'm actually doing a session with the GTM fund on it. So signal-based sales is essentially the idea that what we're doing currently here at Aligned is in terms of agility, in terms of being, and we've been talking about driving traffic to the website, I've basically built a system where I can capture first-level visitors, direct contact names of people on my website, and I can prospect to them directly. But obviously, you need to be careful there. You don't want to come across as creepy, things like that. So what I'm trying to do, sorry, warm visitors. So you'll see something here, which is, I don't know why it's being so slow. My computer is not loading properly. Yeah. So I'm able to see that this sales manager from this company was on my website, and they looked at our customer collaboration page, our digital sales room page, and expert gallery. Think about my trigger to reach out to this person, right?
Oh, okay.
I know exactly what they're thinking about. This is not a demo request, by the way. These are all, there's technology now that can tell you exactly who's on your website. What if you just reach out to those people? What we've done is built a funnel where we use Clearbit to show us companies that are actively on a website. Those companies become my target list. Why go to 100 other companies? Why don't just go to the companies that are on my website, but they haven't bought, they are not signing up or whatever, but they know me, they know I exist. So let's outbound them. Second piece there is like having a tool like Warmly that shows me the exact contact name of the individual. So a little bit more targeted, right? So there I can be direct with my messaging, or I can just play around my messaging a little bit. And what that has done for us is that we basically, in a very interesting way, we're reaching out to people that are signups. And the system is telling me who are my most engaged visitors, my most engaged signups. And by doing so, our leads are converting 37% faster. We're signing up to people, we're calling people that are actively engaged with my website. And they're like, Saad, perfect timing. We've been thinking about you. Let's talk. And we're attributing that to outbound. Outbound deals being built this way are converting way faster than our inbounds and hand raisers. 30% of our sales accepted opportunities, aka 30% of our leads at A's are like, hey, this is great, are outbound, not inbound. And the way we're bringing that to the team is through every single thing that we talked about, right? All the content is driving influence and traffic to the site. That traffic is getting signups. Those signups are getting an outbound touch in a very traditional way. People are like, thanks for reaching out. Great timing. We are actually thinking about evaluating it, and I haven't touched the product yet. Can we get a demo?
Okay. So for this seems like, okay, you need to have a very well structured inbound play, and then the outbound guys come in and sort of like do the trick. Let's just suppose, I mean, given the funding situations, and so you have to cut something.
Yeah.
Which part will you be sort of like willing to cut? Like, is it like the inbound part? You sort of think, okay, no more dollar spent on marketing, no more nothing, or is it the outbound, or is outbound a must for you?
I think outbound is a must. I really think outbound is a must, because even if you're, if you have a good if you have a good product, if you have good messaging, and I guess if you have good, what's the word? Delivery. What's the word? Channels. What's the channel optimization delivery? There's very specific. You will get inbound, but if you don't have the right sellers, if you don't have the right strategy, you won't be able to convert them. So what would I cut? I would honestly cut unnecessary ad spend. I wouldn't try to think about ad spend for driving traffic. It's not easy to attribute. I would cut SEO management a little bit. SEO is all over the place. We're playing guesswork on SEO. This happened for us. I shared this earlier. We invested 90% of our inbound traffic, when we see what they search for, they're searching for our company name. So it's like, okay, cool. We thought we were always in the deal room category, but people are actually searching for. So if I go and invest in SEO, I don't need to anymore because people just know my company name, and it just happened faster than you would think. I think it's happening across the board for a lot of people. It's happening faster than we might think. So cut burn, cut unattributable burn, and optimize for conversions. So yeah, keep marketing, but help your marketers work with sellers. Get your sellers to talk to your marketers, marketers talk to your sellers, build a system that gets you lukewarm or educated people that all you have to do is just go convert them. So no, I don't want to talk to 100 people. I'd rather talk to 30 that are going to work with me. And no, I don't want unnecessary ad to talk to 100,000 people because I don't have time. We don't have bandwidth. Sales teams are smaller than ever before. 70% of your inbounds only convert at 40%. That's a low number for hand raisers. So what's the point of optimizing for 100 more inbounds when the more inbound come, the number is going to just multiply. So I think organic is, if you can find a way to drive organic traffic, invest in a content strategy, hire people, cut unnecessary ad spend, and hire people that know how to market themselves, how to create content. I think you can do some really powerful things in house with a lot less money.
Okay, so Saad, what's your opinion? So lately, have you seen LinkedIn organic reach dropping or not? So, and in case if that drops and it's dropping drastically over now, does this stay valid or is it going to change a lot?
Great question. Over the last 2 weeks, it's been horrible. I don't know if you've noticed it, but like it's been
I think that.
and it's been stressful. And I thought about that as well. I was like, man, it's been a primary and this is where sometimes it's a great thing, but it's also handcuffs. You're handicapped to it. Hence why I think there's always a fork in the road. The answer is not that, oh, LinkedIn reach is dropping right now. The answer is at the start. At the start, did we do all the right things? Did we create a good content strategy? Did we also supplement that with outbound? Did we do enough to basically create the idea that by the time I outbound people, they're like, oh yeah, we've kind of heard about you guys. So that happens with the following. So I think to prevent the LinkedIn drop, what businesses should do from the start is, I think, put together. So I think this system should always run. Have a Slack channel that tracks all the inbounds that you get, whether it could be from LinkedIn or your website and all that stuff. Report on these inbounds weekly. And what's the reporting there? Cross-reference the accounts, the leads, the industry, the titles that are coming inbound against your current best customers. Then further cross-reference them against what's the word that I'm looking for? Against, and let's say in your CRM there's a stage called alignment, where you're basically like, okay, either they're gonna buy from us or our competitor, but they're definitely gonna buy. And to prevent the LinkedIn reach drop, just outbound into these people. The messaging is straightforward. Hey, we're working with your competitor on a very basic level. You can get away with just saying like, hey, we're working with the competitor. Why aren't we working with you? So yes, to prevent the LinkedIn drop now at the start, you should be supplying it with good outbound. You should. It's not. That's why when I say ad spend can be hit or miss. Organic definitely hits, but supplement organic with outbound, like good targeted outbound, like and basically what we're doing is we're pretty much tracking all these companies and names. We're putting a list together and giving to the marketing and sales every week to just find lookalike companies. You can use ocean.io to find lookalike companies and just outbound to them. And the conversation becomes very simple when you just consistently you have a consistent just network of all these things. So when LinkedIn reach drops, you know exactly where to go. You're not relying on the drop of LinkedIn reach. You have a system built that you're just going back to. And I like to call it the fire alignment framework. You're looking for accounts that fit your ideal customer profile using infographics, technographics, LinkedIn, your CRM data, all that good stuff. The I there is for intent. Find the accounts that have shown general interest in your category. This is important. Because if one has, then others might as well, right?
Okay.
That's how companies are built, right? We're solving similar problems. It's not just features. And go find relationships if you can leverage that. Those relationships be context, historical, ex-champions, all that stuff, LinkedIn engagement, former engagement, website traffic, a lot of that stuff. I'm just, yes, reach will drop and it's fine. But if reach dropping is killing your system off, then that means it was a bad system to start off with. It was just reliant on one thing, versus like a sales and marketing alliance where you have your, just, it's, there's like core piece you need to be hitting so that if one falls, the others can pick it up.
So, so in terms of any other channels, do you think that maybe that reach and organic can be there on some Facebook or
Twitter.
maybe on the YouTube or the Twitter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Twitter is insane. Twitter is. I used to work at before this. I was at vendor. CFOs, procurement leaders are all on Twitter. Twitter is a huge driver. Twitter reach has stayed the exact same, never dropped. The amount of business people are driving off of Twitter is insane. So again, you don't have to just. I think the stress there is if you have one golden goose, then that's exactly it. You have one golden goose.
Yeah.
It can die.
Okay.
So YouTube is good. YouTube is difficult to optimize. YouTube is very difficult to optimize and grow.
Very conservative.
I would say LinkedIn. Sorry?
I was saying YouTube is very, very conservative. Like, put a video, wait for a year, do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah. Slack communities as well. Slack communities are huge now. Yeah. So that would be, I think that's what I would say. There's reach is always going to be there. Your audience, it just goes back to the cul-de-sac analogy that we used earlier. Is like, what's your customer's dog park, right?
Okay.
There might be more. You need to find that first and optimize for that. Like, where is your ICP hanging out?
So, so people have used some of the other platforms like Reddits and Quoras and going there, generating traffic from there. So, still relevant, valid, or is it like gone now?
I personally have not. For me personally, I know e-commerce and just a lot of like other companies do really well off Quora, Reddit, things like that. Respectfully, I can comment the best on it because I personally have not been involved with just, but in my own personal experience, if I just speak, I used to go to Reddit quite a bit up until a few years ago. I don't anymore. I've deleted my Reddit app. There was a time, and this is me just thinking subconsciously, psychologically, not based on any experience of using Reddit or Quora for my business. I'm not going to pretend here, but if me as just a general consumer of Reddit or Quora has dropped, the usage has dropped. The Reddit pages used to be like gold mine back in the day to get hacks and stuff like that. It's kind of not anymore. I feel like I think that's the best answer I can give there. And like, and I've also seen the last 2 years Facebook died, and there was like a great Facebook exodus, and everybody jumped onto LinkedIn. But there's a lot of businesses that are still running huge Facebook communities. David Primer, like agency owners, stuff like that, they make a lot of money off of Facebook. And also, let's not just talk SaaS businesses. There's a lot of B2C businesses. There's a lot of other community business. There's just a lot of businesses that are driving a lot of growth off of Facebook communities. But the reason why is because they know where their people are. If you know what channel is good for your people, invest in it. And it should be multiple, definitely not one. And you know what? Everything does not have to work for everybody. There's this guy called Eric Nowakowski. He is an Outbound agency owner. Insane business from Facebook communities, because he's doing business with restaurants and things like that. They're not doing LinkedIn stuff, right? So yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So the other sort of like element in your strategy is like an ability to build a personal brand, right? So that becomes like a must for this creating this generic interest. So any tips and tricks over there? I mean, what do you sort of like suggest? Like, because
yes, the best trick over there.
Can this be taught?
Yeah. My best advice on people that are trying to build a personal brand is don't try to impress people above you. Earn trust from. So it's like the best advice that I got when I was trying to build my personal brand is from my friend Florent Titulia. He's a very well-known sales strategist. He's got a big following, and he said that he's like, when I'm writing, I'm not writing. I'm basically writing for the next Saad at every stage of his career and making it tactical. So so when I write on LinkedIn, I'm sharing cold call strategies, tactics, examples, etc., etc., etc. Because I'm a seller, right? I use this analogy. If selling is a video game, then selling to sales leaders is like a final boss battle. In a video game, as you're ranking up, you can throw anything at your as you're ranking up different levels, you can just throw weapons willy-nilly. But by the time you get to the final boss, you're a master of your craft. You're like executing perfection. So a good product, a good marketing, good personal branding is going to open the door. What's going to close it is if you've earned enough trust and if they trust you. So for us, we're not, the content we create is not about Aligned. The content we create is about sales excellence. It's about how to be brilliant sellers, how to be good process operators, so that you basically like, hey, this guy talks sense. He must be selling something that's sensible. We should like, a smart guy would not sell a dumb thing. So so you don't have to earn trust by impressing people. You have to earn trust by being trustworthy. And trustworthiness does not come from like, hey, Mr. VP of sales, look how hot I am. No, it's by looking out for people. It's by looking out for the up and comers. It's by being somebody that becomes a community authority that can teach people. And if people like you, then trust you, they'll buy from you.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Just maybe a tangent. Have you ever sort of like tried any strategy of building those newsletters and building that audience and building that community, and then maybe just playing with that? Because that's like getting a lot of traction again, because it faded away and it's coming back again. What's your take on that?
I launched a Substack. I have a Substack. Yeah, I have a Substack newsletter. I'm also trying to build, aside from my own thing, I'm also trying to build my own personal, just, whatever you call it, business or things like that. And look, I think people are mistaken when they think all your followers are going to buy from you. All your followers are not going to become your customers. But if your followers from one channel follow you into your next one, they're more likely to. Also, a newsletter is your email list. If you can capture an email list and people are engaged, you can someday sell down. Like, those are going to be your first customers likely. Like, a newsletter is not just, oh, let's just it's a strategic thing. Like, I went to Collision Conference in Toronto, and one of the keynote sessions there was the gold rush of the creator economy. And the speaker was Mark D'Amelio, Charlie D'Amelio's father. Somebody asked him, like, are you not concerned about your daughter's fame? And they're like, it's not concerned when it's controlled. And somebody was like, okay, what do you guys mean? They're like, we have a business called D'Amelio Brands, D'Amelio Clothes. We design clothes. Our daughters wear them in their videos. We track the engagement, and where we get the most engagement, we create those. We take those clothes to the market. So he's like, you need to understand how you take your audience, and turn your audience. You have to find a way to turn them into customers, not by always being direct. But it's like, just And then somebody asked him, like, okay, Mark, what are you focused on? What's your big thing? He gets up and goes, hey, if anybody's figured LinkedIn out, let me know. I was like, interesting. I pulled up his Instagram. He's got 1.5 million followers on Instagram. I pull up his LinkedIn. He's got 7,000 only on LinkedIn. I have double his followers on LinkedIn. And it hit me. I was like, wait, hold on. Do we have first mover advantage? I look at my buddy. I was like, hold on. I'm never going to be, I know for a fact I'm not going to be Instagram famous. I was like, wait, hold on. Do we have first mover advantage on LinkedIn right now? And if he's trying to go from Instagram to LinkedIn, I'm trying to go from LinkedIn to Substack.
Okay.
So to answer your question about newsletter, after a long answer, I think for me, the newsletter, as much as it is to like build more things out, it's also a way to just get a bit more predictability on ultimately who might become my future customers as well.
Okay, that's an awesome. So obviously marketing changes. It's changing. Okay, and where do you sort of like see this going? I mean, and again, I'm sort of like coming back to this recession thing that's going to happen and all of that. So, are the marketing dollars gone? Is it like over, or is it more outbound? What in your opinion, what the future looks like?
I think smaller teams, but a bit more controlled. I think it's happened. Kyle Coleman was uh, I believe he was a VP of sales at Clary, and then he became the chief marketing officer. And we're seeing that. We're seeing sales leaders shift into marketing, and I think it's kind of a bit of a forced thing with exactly what we're saying is, I'm not saying, I think that's exactly it. Marketers need to think like sellers, and sellers need to think like marketers in a very simple way. And we're seeing that shift happen. We're seeing that we're literally seeing that shift happen in the industry.
Okay. I actually forgot to ask one of the so you might have used some of all of these marketing automation tools and RevOps automation and all those. Do you see clear ROI in using all of those, or is it like you feel like, okay, too much automation takes away the personalization and the impact?
Yeah. I've used Klaviyo, I've used Marketo. This is what I loved about Marketo when I was a rep. Marketo used to tell me what pages people are looking at after I've outbounded to them, and I used to use those as triggers to reach out to them. So I used to, that data that it gave me, I use that to personalize. So it has its place. Everything has its place, but don't let the system run the system. You take the data from the system and go operationalize it. Hence, exactly the same thing. Sales and marketing. You might have noticed a consistent theme in this call. It's always like marketing efforts have to be supplemented by the right sales touches. So yes, they can be overkill. They're also needed at a certain stage, at a certain scale. You need that stuff. You can manage with people, but don't let that stuff be the end point of the execution. Use it to set up a playing ground, a test around you, so you can get enough data that the sellers can go execute on. I think that's a better way to be about it versus just like letting the full automated system work, because it's just not anymore. Inboxes are slammed. People can suss out automation. People can suss out just like robotic copy and things like that. So yes, they have their place, but they fall short if they're the only place. If that's the only thing you're doing, and you don't have the right, just sales strategy for it, or the right human beings to work with that data versus the data just doing itself, I think it falls short.
Okay, that's awesome. So we're pretty much at the end now. So anything that I missed, anything you want to add, that would be great. Go for it.
No, I'd love to understand how have some of the things that I've shared compared to some of the other conversations you guys have. Like, you're a consulting company, you're like creating a lot of content for just like educating people. I sometimes always think that my ideas are a little bit radical, but are they actually radical?
100%.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty much impressed by the top of funnel discussion that we had. Like, so it's a different paradigm to think. Okay, let's just take away all of those ad pushes and all of those high burns, and just focus on this engagement. Just bring in that awareness, general awareness on top, and then just play with it. I think that was amazing. I mean, and I'll be listening to this all over again to sort of like really take
Thank
notes.
you.
So that, I really appreciate the time. I mean, that's very, very insightful.
It was my pleasure. I was definitely not on best form today. Just like, a little tired and things like
That's
that.
fine.
So if there's a lot
No
of
worries.
if I went off topic, apologize. But yeah, I'm passionate about this stuff. It's like, I think that's what makes things exciting is I think this goes into the agility question earlier. I think what we need to be agile on is the idea that all we know is we don't know enough.
Yeah.
We got to keep, I personally don't. So I want to keep exploring these things. And you know what? Today I'm talking about this, maybe tomorrow, I hope it evolves. I hope it becomes something completely else, but I need to be on top of it. I need to know where that goes. I think that's a fun part of working at early stage companies. I think the education piece is is wild.
Okay, that's awesome. So in terms of learning, in terms of somebody who has to like really be on the top, any top 3 books, material, anything that they should really go at it, like something which is very recent, maybe.
Yeah, I would say Chris Walker's podcast, Refine Labs. Chris Walker from Refine Labs. He pretty much termed came up with the term dark social for this top of funnel that we're talking about. I think that's a great podcast. Sales wise, I think the book that changed my career trajectory is a book by David Primer, who is in Canada. He is from Toronto. He's a former VP of sales of Salesforce. The book is called Cerebral Selling, Sell the Way You Buy. And that book taught me that I can ramble, I can yap, I can be any personality type. But if I say certain things, I can connect the dots back to just, and I clearly am a rambler. There was one learning there. It was basically, you can go off on a tangent, but then if you say the following, so let's say I just said something, I go off on a tangent, share a story, and then I finish it off with, hey, the reason for my ask is because we typically see that happen, that problem occur. So I want to share more context. Then your rambling makes sense. And I was like, just connected, click for me. The other last book that I would recommend is by Kim Scott, Radical Candor. Radical Candor is not a sales book, but it teaches you how to be direct. And I think in any business, it's about how you communicate, right? I sometimes get insecure that my communication is not direct. No, my communication is contextual, but it is also direct. So I think everybody owes to themselves about how to learn strategy, but also read books that help you deploy strategy.
Okay, that's awesome. So Saad, I'm very, very, really appreciative of this time. So definitely, I think we will add a lot of value sharing all of this. So when we will post it, we'll let you know. And again, thanks a lot for taking the time out. Really appreciate all of this. Okay.
Thank you so much for
sharing
having me.
it with hope. Yeah, sharing it openly and wholeheartedly. That was very, very refreshing.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's keep in touch. We'd love to stay connected.
Yeah, sure.
Keep it going.
Thanks a lot. Okay.
Take care. Bye.
Have a nice day. Bye.